Hi guys, welcome to my channel, and this week I am extremely excited to be participating as a guest in the Animal Artists Collective, and I'm really happy to be part of such a great group of artists who not only draw amazing animals but also raise money for charities who help to protect them. For any of you who haven't heard of this before, the Animal Artists Collective was founded by Jennifer Charlie of Jennifer Charlie Art and Denise Soden of In Liquid Colour as a platform for emerging artists to promote positive messages for animal welfare and conservation, and to connect artists to their communities. All of the original artwork produced for the Animal Artists Collective is always made available for sale, and at least 50% of the proceeds are donated to a non-profit animal conservation organisation. Every other month, the members of the collective create pieces of artwork based around a theme, voted for by you on their Facebook page. So if you want to get involved and have your say for the next round, I'll put links in the description below. Unofficial participation is welcomed in the form of videos or artwork, and you can share it on their social media pages, and I'll link that below as well. So this round's theme is extinct animals, which is an interesting one and one which I thought would be a bit challenging. I also did have to wonder just how I was going to raise awareness for conservation issues based on an animal that is no longer with us. In the end though, after much deliberation and brainstorming, I decided on the woolly rhino. I decided on the woolly rhino because, as much as they have been long extinct, there are currently huge issues around the welfare and conservation of our rhinos now. So I'm going to talk a bit about them both, past and present, in the hope of making a difference, however small, today. I'll also be talking a bit about the process of the painting you're watching in the background and the charity I've chosen to support, so make sure you watch till the end of the video if you want information on all that. So the woolly rhinoceros, a member of the Pleistocene megafauna, was common throughout Europe and northern Asia during the Pleistocene epoch and survived until the last glacial period. They were well adapted to their environments with large stocky limbs and thick woolly fur, and lived alongside the more well-known woolly mammoths. The appearance of the woolly rhino is known from mummified individuals from Siberia as well as cave paintings, and they were big, typically around 3 to 3.8 metres or 9.8 to 12.5 feet long, weighing an estimated 1800 to 2700 kilograms. They could also grow to be 2 metres tall, so were comparable or slightly bigger than the white rhinoceros. The woolly rhino had 2 horns made of keratin, the longer of the two at the front being 61 centimetres in length, with the smaller one in between its eyes. These horns were used for defence purposes and to attract mates, and typically a female rhino would give birth to 1 or 2 calves. A study of 40,000 to 70,000-year-old DNA samples shows its closest surviving relative is the Sumatran rhino, and comparisons with extant perissodactyls confirms that the woolly rhino would have had a herbivorous diet, grazing on cellulose-rich, protein-poor fodder. So far as the cause for their extinction, human hunting is one possibility, but other theories include climate change associated with the receding ice age. One of the more widely accepted theories states that although the woolly rhino was specialised for the cold weather, it was capable of surviving in warmer climates too, and this suggests that climate change was not the only factor contributing to the rhino's extinction. Other cold-adapted species such as reindeer, muskox and wisent survived this period of climatic change, and many others like it, supporting the overkill hypothesis for the woolly rhino. Today, several different species of rhino do still exist in the wild, and as recently as the beginning of the 20th century, 500,000 rhinos roamed Africa and Asia. Now though, sadly, very few rhinos survive outside national parks and reserves due to persistent poaching and habitat loss over many decades. Poaching, which continues illegally despite international government bans. Poaching, which is driven by consumer demand for rhino horns to be either ground down for use in traditional medicines or sold as high-value gifts. According to the Worldwide Fund for Nature, in countries like China and Vietnam, rhino horn has become a party drug, a health supplement and a hangover cure. In Vietnam, there is also a new belief that rhino horn can cure cancer. Rhino horn that's made of keratin, just like in your own fingernails. And as economy and population increases, wildlife habitats are destroyed and even more pressure is put on our rhino populations. Currently, 2 species of rhino in Asia, the Javan and Sumatran, are critically endangered, and in 2011, a subspecies of the Javan rhino was declared extinct. Successful conservation efforts have helped the 3rd Asian species, the greater one-horned or Indian rhino, to increase in number, and their status was changed from endangered to vulnerable, but the species is still poached for its horn. In Africa, southern white rhinos, once thought to be extinct, now thrive in protected sanctuaries, but the western black rhino and northern white rhino have recently gone extinct in the wild. The only 3 remaining northern white rhinos are kept under 24-hour guard in a place in Kenya. So what can we do? Well, we can support a number of non-profit charities who work comprehensively to combat poaching from many different angles. The WWF, for example, works in collaboration with experts and governments to help protect existing populations and establish new populations through translocations. They also work to combat poaching and the illegal trade of and demand for rhino horn to bring trafficking perpetrators to justice. If you are interested in buying this original artwork and supporting my chosen charity, which is Save the Rhino, then I will put information in the description box to my Etsy shop for you to go and check out, as well as links to all the other members of the collective and their channels too, so go and check them out and show your support. Now let's talk a bit about this painting. I have to admit, a bit unsure about it at the start and did contemplate doing a misty mountain background at first. But after sketching out a few ideas, I went with the plain white background instead, which I do quite like. I thought this would make the rhino really stand out and make the overall piece look more dramatic and eye-catching. I chose Fabriano hot press paper to paint on as I wanted to add in some coloured pencil over the top of my watercolour to help add texture and definition to all that fur later on, and I really like the flexibility of this paper to work on with watercolour and coloured pencils alike. I started off by painting in some very light layers of watercolours to act as a base and help me map out the main features of the face and body. I also looked at the fur length and direction early on and worked on clumps of fur at a time, gradually building up the value with darker washes. I only used a very limited colour palette for this one, which consisted mainly of yellow ochre, a few different browns, neutral tint and indigo, and I was really pleased with the colour choice, but my original idea was to go for a much looser painting than how it turned out. Rather than add just a few bits of fur detail with my coloured pencils, I ended up getting completely sidetracked and adding detail all over. I think the composition of this piece did seem to lend itself to that though, and adding the coloured pencil on top really helped to add depth as well as texture to the rhino's fur. I also liked how adding a simple shadow underneath the rhino in a complementary indigo colour to the orangey browns of the fur looked quite effective and really helped to ground the rhino and give him a sense of strength and power, but with it a sense of vulnerability too against the plain white background. So despite my initial apprehension over this piece, I have to say I did really enjoy it and have learned a lot about the 5 different species of rhinos alive today, including their habitats and the problems they are faced with just to stay in existence. Save the Rhino, the charity I've chosen to support, has a ton of information on its website with a whole section on how to get involved if this video has sparked your interest. It also contains some interesting facts. Did you know, for example, that a rhino's horn can grow back after 3 years so long as the skull isn't damaged when it's cut? Or that rhino horn is worth more on the black market than gold, which is just madness. Now, one thing I haven't mentioned yet with regards to my painting is reference pictures, since as you may know I do like a good reference picture to make sure I'm getting the proportions right and so on. It did prove tricky for this one as reference photos for extinct animals aren't always readily available or easy to find, but I did manage to locate one in the end and used it in combination with reference pictures of some rhinos today just for the detailed areas around the eyes and mouth, which is always my favourite part to paint. To finish this painting off, I just used a sharp sepia pencil to add some fine hairs and whiskers around the mouth and chin area and adjusted the values to get them as I wanted. Let me know what you think of the finished piece in the comments box, and don't forget to show some love and support to the other artists in the collective too, using the links below. I for one can't wait to see what they've created for this round. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please give it a thumbs up if you have, and subscribe if you aren't already, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on future art videos. Thank you so much as always for all your support, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!